the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. We are supposed to be physically distancing, wearing masks, and so...
That was Utah County Commissioner Tanner Ainge addressing an unruly crowd during a meeting back in June. The commission gathered to discuss a proposed vote for a, quote, compassionate exemption from the governor's statewide school mask mandate. Now, he eventually postponed that meeting due to safety concerns, and he actually joins us here tonight, Utah County Commissioner Tanner Ainge, via Zoom. Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hi, Rosie. Good to be with you.
All right. Well, it seemed like we were doing well with slowing down the spread of COVID-19 in Utah, and now we're seeing a late September surge in positive cases and a move back to orange status for Provo and Orem. So I just want to spew out a few data stats. According to state epidemiologist Dr. Angela Dunn, Utah County continues to be the main driver of the statewide increases in COVID-19 cases. The county cases grew by 81% in the last week. The county accounts for 42% of the state's cases, despite only making up 20% of the state's population. So talk to me. Talk about how this makes you feel as an elected official charged with keeping people safe.
Well, it's very concerning. They're alarming numbers. You have multiple reactions. I mean, on one hand, however, you think about bringing back 2 entire universities full of young people and sending kids back to school. It doesn't take any stretch of the imagination to predict that that is going to have risk of an increase, of a spike. But on the other hand, when you see these numbers, certainly I think it reflects poorly on us. And, you know, what could we have done to be more proactive about this? And so I'm willing to own that. But lastly, just as someone who takes pride in our community, I think when you see those numbers that you just put up and that our rate of infection is more than 5.4 times the rate of the rest of the state and that we're the primary contributor to this spike, I think the reaction is we got to step up and do our part. That doesn't reflect well on us. And, you know, it puts we got to care about our fellow men to not spread this even further. We got to care about our healthcare workers and our healthcare system so that it's not overwhelmed. And to know that spikes also put at risk the economic freedom and, you know, closure of small businesses. And so I think for all of those reasons, it was time to issue a call to action for all of us to step up and do the little things that we should do, like wearing a face covering when we're in public.
All right, real quick, I want you to take off your politician hat for a second, okay? As a Utahn, when you're out and about with your wife and kids, do you feel safe?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the wrong question to ask, but unfortunately, fortunately, my wife and I are healthy, knock on wood. Each of our 5 kids don't have underlying conditions that really make them particularly vulnerable. So I don't have any personal fear about getting this virus, but why take the precautions is, one, we can't contribute to this spread for all of those reasons I just said. It has negative impacts to everyone, and 2, that we all live near to and interact with in our daily lives that it can spread to and seriously impact their health. And so that is why we need to take the precautions.
Yeah, during some of the last few updates from the state health department, we're hearing that some of the highest cases are coming from college-aged adults from Utah County. What's your take on how BYU and UVU has been responding to this situation?
Well, I think they're doing everything that they can. And, you know, now they know that they're a major contributor to the spike, and perhaps early on the focus was controlling their learning environments and their campus environments, because that's where they have the most direct control. And they did a good job. They had very detailed plans on that. But I think quickly they realized, and the underlying communities realized, that it's these students that living in dormitories and apartments with roommates and having social gatherings, it's the off-campus areas where it became more difficult to manage. And I think that's where they drew upon, and it was a joint effort. I know the state worked together to share their data, and the universities are doing everything they can now. Each president has issued a joint statement, and now with the county new health order going into place, it's trying to have a more holistic approach that's not just on the campuses during the learning environment, but including the social activities off of campus.
Commissioner, we have about a minute left. Now, I know you're one of 3 people, right, on the commission. So sometimes We saw with the vote with the mask mandate, right? It was you, Ivy, voted in favor of it, and then we had Commissioner Lee, right, who didn't want to vote for it. What needs to be done? And I mean, what's the tricky part, right, about being part of a team, of a commission, where, you know, sometimes you kind of have to come together and make this decision to move forward?
Yeah, look, none of these solutions right now are perfect. This virus is spreading. We're all learning more about it. I think for the most part, people are doing their best. Our health experts and our elected officials are doing what they can. And it takes a compromised approach. You know, Commissioner Ivy and I didn't necessarily see this the exact same way, and maybe didn't see it the exact same way as Dr. Dunn or Governor Herbert, but together we reached something, as well as with our sheriff and our local mayors, who are going to play a role in this because it reaches out to every city in our community and their police departments. So we felt like this was something that we could put in place that has the support of key leaders in our community, and hopefully will help change behavior to that small group. There's still many people, and most businesses are already following the guidelines, but we just hope that that group that haven't been, you know, this is a little bit of a wake-up call that we actually need to do our part.
Utah County Commissioner Tanner Ainge, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for your time as well as your service to our community.
Thanks, Rosie.